Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are starting Unit 2 today. We're doing Unit 2, Lesson 1 on congruent figures. So we're going to jump right into it. Remember, as you're taking these notes at home, you can also press the pause feature so that you can write everything down that I'm writing down. Really important that you're listening and not only watching what we're writing. So just to show me that you are listening to this and that the sound is on, go ahead and put a star next to the title on your page so we can check it tomorrow. Alright, the first thing we're going to talk about today is identifying congruent figures. What are congruent figures and how can we identify them? So identifying congruent figures, all that means is that two shapes are the exact same size and same shape. They are the same size and they are the same shape. They look identical. Okay, so two figures are the same size and same shape, then they are congruent. The symbol that we write down for congruency is this equal sign with a little twister swirl above it. Okay, so we're just going to put an example of this. Two triangles that are congruent look the exact same. One way that we can identify that, because as we know, Miss Fortix is not the best artist, is that we're going to put little slashes through our line. So one slash, that tells me that those two sides are the same size. Over here, these ones have two, so those two are the same size. And then down here at the bottom, they get three slashes to let me know that they're the same. You do the same thing with angles on the inside. You just do a little swoop to tell me that those two are the same size. Okay, so these are congruent. Same size, same shape, congruent. On the other side, we're going to draw two triangles that are not congruent. Doesn't have to be a triangle. I just chose triangles for today. As you can see, one of these is definitely bigger than the other one, so these are just not congruent. Remember, congruent, same size, same shape, and this is our symbol for congruency. Okay? So moving to the next little section. Remember, if you need to pause it, you can pause it at any time. Congruent figures have corresponding sides and angles. Which are also congruent. And this is true even when the shape is turned or flipped or rotated or translated. They're still going to correspond. So we're going to add that down. Even if the figure is rotated or flipped, they still have corresponding sides and angles. So no matter what happens to it, they still have corresponding sides and angles. So let's say that we have these two triangles that we're going to draw. We're going to have triangle ABC and triangle DEF. Those are congruent to one another. So I'm going to add in my slashes. Let me know which sides are equal to one another. I'm also going to do that on my angles. And I'm telling you that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. And I want you to identify all of the corresponding sides and all of the corresponding angles. So to do that, you're kind of just playing a matching game. So if we do our angles over here, angle A is congruent or is in the same spot as angle D. So I would know that those two are congruent to one another. Okay, the shadows are really bad today. Angle B is congruent to angle E. We can also match them up because it has one swoop to one swoop. Sure, it has a technical name, but I always call it a swoop. And then angle C is congruent to our last one, no swoops to no swoops, angle F. So that's all of our angles. We also want to identify our corresponding sides. This is proving that the two triangles are congruent. So side length AB is congruent to side length DE. And it's super important that we watch our order on these. We want to have them in the same order. We do BC going down. That's going to be congruent to EF. Notice I put the lines above it to let us know that it's a line segment. So we're labeling them appropriately. Put the angle sign in front of your angles so you're doing those appropriately. And then our last one, line segment CA, is congruent to line segment FD. And again, I'm just going to put a little note at the bottom. Watch your order. It's really important that you're labeling them in the correct order. What's your size? Okay? So that's some of the things we can do with congruent figures. So now I'm going to flip the page so I have enough space. Oh, stick it together. Come on, put it. And we're going to draw two trapezoids. And I'm going to let you know that trapezoid ABCD is congruent, remember that's our symbol for congruent, to trapezoid JKLM. Those two are congruent to one another. So I'm going to draw them. This is ABCD. And then I'm going to draw JKLM. Notice how JKLM has been flipped. And I know a couple things about ABCD. I know this side's 8 foot, this one's 6 foot, this one's 8, this one down here at the bottom is 10 foot. Okay? Since I know the triangle ABCD is congruent to triangle JKLM, not triangle trapezoid, I know those two are congruent. If it asks me what is the length of JM, I can figure that out by looking at, well, JM is in the same spot as AD. So since I know the length of AD, and I know that these two trapezoids are congruent, I know that the length of JM is the same thing. It's going to be 10 foot. I could do that with any of them. I could find the length of LM, JK, or even LK if we were being asked to. We can also take it a step further. Sorry, those are my cats. And find the perimeter of JKLM since we know all of the side lengths to A, B, C, D. They have the same line segments, same length in J, K, L, M, so we just need to add those together. 8 plus 8 plus 6 plus 10 gives me a perimeter of 32 feet. So I can solve that as well. There's many things that we could solve since we know that two figures are congruent. Congruency sort of just kind of sets us up to be able to look at the two different figures. So now we're going to do a challenge question that I think is important to have in our notes to go back and reference. So I'm going to draw two more triangles. This is our last drawing that I'm going to ask you to do. The last one is a little bit harder. I have two triangles. I have FEG and I have RST. So I can add. This one is 4x plus 6. This one's 28 degrees. And 3z minus 8. And z plus 4 over here. 5y minus 2. And this is just a square in the corner. And I'm telling you a couple of things. I'm letting you know that triangle EFG is congruent to triangle RST. Okay, so I know that EFG is congruent to RST. If I can match up my order, I can find out some different things about it. But the only question that it's asking is, what is the value of x? What is the value of x? So first thing I want to do is look at my picture and where is x? X is only down here in angle E. Well, angle E, I know, is 4x plus 6. I also know that angle E is in the same spot as angle R. Well, that square in the corner lets me know that angle R is 90 degrees. And since I know that they're congruent, I can make an equal sign and make it equal to 90. And now I can find the value of x. I can solve it by drawing my line down my equal sign, subtracting 6 from both sides to get 4x is equal to 84. And then divide by 4, and x is equal to 21. So we're not going to be getting rid of the stuff that we did back in that last unit. Still going to come around, it's just going to look a little bit differently. But remember, the big idea, the main thing I want you to remember, I'm going to put it right down here again. Our big idea, our main idea, is that congruent means same size and same shape. Same size and same shape. Congruent. Same size and same shape. Okay? That's your big idea. That's the big thing that I want you to remember from this lesson. Thank you.